Hello and welcome to Lightning Lessons from CollegeDrive Test Prep and Tutoring. Each Lightning lesson is a 3-minute class focusing on a highly coachable aspect of the SAT or ACT. In fact, if you give us 3 minutes, we'll give you a higher test score. Today we're going to focus on how to approach percentage problems. So let's jump in. The word percentage comes from Latin and means quite literally part of 100. And that's going to give us a big clue as to the best way to approach percentage problems. Let's look at our first problem. Jennifer's best long jump distance increased by 10% from 1990 to 1991 and by 20% from 1991 to 1992. By what percent did her best long jump distance increase from 1990 to 1992? Well, if we can draw one conclusion, it is probably this, that given that that was 27 years ago, she's probably not jumping quite as far as she did back then, but that's a problem for another time. When we are dealing with percentage problems, we want to start with the number 10 or 100. That's going to simplify everything as we start to work our way toward a solution. So in this particular case, Jennifer starts at 100 and increases 10%. So that takes us from 100 to 110. Now in her second year, she's going to increase an additional 20%. So it's not 20% of 100, that's the trap that the test maker would like you to fall into, but this is a compounding problem. So Jennifer is now at 110, she has to increase another 20%. So she's going to increase 20% of 110, or 20% times 110, which means an additional 22. So she's going to go from 100 to 110, but then from 110 to 132. We know that the correct answer is F, 32%, and that's how we solve percentage problems. Let's try one more. So in our next problem, we're dealing with a rectangle. A rectangle is altered by increasing its length by 10%, but decreasing its width by p%. If these alterations decrease the area of the rectangle by 12%, what is the value of p? So taking the strategy we now know to start with 10 or 100 is really going to help us solve what is otherwise a pretty challenging problem. Once again, we're going to start with 10 or 100. In this case, we're going to do a little bit of both by making our rectangle starting as a 10 by 10 rectangle. It's a square, yes, which counts as a type of rectangle. Now watch what happens. We've got it increase one side by 10%, so we're going to take it from 10 to 11, but the other side has to decrease by some unknown amount such that the total area is going to decrease by 12%. But by cleverly making our rectangle 10 by 10 and the area 100, decreasing that by 12%, that takes us to 88. So we need a total area of 88. We know that one side is 11, so then the other side has to be 8. And since the other side started at 10 but decreased to 8, it decreased by a total of 20%, choice C. Our main takeaway for today is when dealing with problems involving percentages, we want to start with the numbers 10 or 100, depending on the problem, and that's going to get us very quickly to the right answer. I hope you've enjoyed today's lightning lesson and you'll join us again for our next lightning lesson. And just think about this. If we could raise your score in just 3 minutes, imagine what we could do in our full classroom and tutoring programs. For more information about CollegeDrive, please visit collegedrive.com or call us at 720-496-2244. We want to start with 10 or 100 to plug in. Do that again. Now the word percentage quite literally means part of 100. Okay, we'll do that again. The word percentage quite literally